Hello and welcome back to Gardening with Ben. Welcome to our new episode for today. I hope you're enjoying all the podcasts that we're putting out there. If you've not subscribed to our channel, make sure you click the subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts, what get launched, and feel free to follow us on all our social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube and Instagram, Gardening with Ben. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure you leave a review as well, as it's always good to see who's listening and what you think of the podcast. Let's start today's episode. So hello and welcome to today's episode. This is a bonus episode. Each day we'll still produce the 28-day podcast challenge which we're doing, which gets launched at 5 o'clock in the morning, ready for you to listen to on the way to work or while you're having your morning brew. So this is a bonus episode today, and today's episode is going to be about what jobs to do in the garden in February. The weather may be awful, it may be snowing, which it certainly has been doing recently, but here we're going to tell you what jobs you can be doing when you get a chance to go in the garden and when it's not covered in snow. So sit back, relax and enjoy today's episode. So we're going to cover 3 areas. We're going to cover what jobs to do in the vegetable garden, the fruit garden and the flower garden. So each section will be talked through and explained. So let's start off with the vegetable garden first. So if you're growing asparagus, what you need to do, you need to add the mulch to it. This will give it the food and the warmth to help get it started for growing this year, to get good crops from that asparagus. For your beds, you need to start preparing them, getting them ready and digging them over, turning them around and clearing all the weeds out of them if you get a chance, if you're able to get into the beds, that is, if it's not been snowing. And you can warm them up by covering them with sheets of plastic, cardboard, anything that will add that layer to it to add the warmth to the garden. Now for your potatoes, if you've not started chitting them for this year, now is the perfect time to be doing that. Most shops are selling potatoes now, so you can go and purchase which variety you want to try, whether you want to try early crops or the late crops. Now is the time to be looking at purchasing those potatoes. Now in the fruit garden, there's plenty of jobs that need doing in the fruit garden. I've definitely got a fruit garden on my plot, and it is the best thing that you can have on your allotment, to be honest. There's nothing better than fresh picked fruit. So now is probably the perfect time to be doing a lot of your pruning. The things that can be pruned this year, now, are the apple trees while they're still dormant and they've not woke back up yet. Your black currants, prune these back before they start growing this year's growth. Your gooseberries, they can still be done now. Pear trees can still be pruned as well. Red currants and your white currants, so all your currant bushes, they can all be pruned back. Do not prune any of your stone fruit trees yet, like your apricots, your peaches, your cherries, your plums. They need to be done in the springtime when they do actually start waking back up. So the other things that can be done in the fruit garden are you can add some potassium fertiliser to your fruit bushes. This will help add great growth to the bushes and hopefully produce you lots of crops this year. If you've got fruit trees, mulch around the trees. This will help feed them for the year ahead and give them that good start that they need to growing this year's growth. Raspberries. Now these also can be pruned at the moment. If you've got your summer variety of raspberries, they need pruning. You need to prune back the raspberry canes that had raspberries on them last year. Do not prune back the growth which the new canes which grew last year, as these will be the ones that fruit. Autumn raspberries, they can all be pruned to the ground because they will grow the raspberries on this year's growth. But what you can do to the summer variety of raspberries, the canes which grew last year, which are going to be the fruit bearing canes this year, you can just nip off the tops on each cane. This will help them bush out and produce more fruit on that cane. Rhubarb. If you're wanting an early crop of rhubarb, as most people's rhubarb plants will have started growing now and showing life, you can start to force it by putting a bucket over the top with some holes in it, and that will get it going faster. You can also add some mulch to the rhubarb or feed to give it that extra start, but do not put the mulch over the crown, as this will cause it to rot and you don't want to lose a nice rhubarb plant. Strawberries. If you're wanting an early crop of strawberries, what you can do is you can cover them with a cloch. Remember, when it gets warmer though, you will need to keep them watered more, as the rain won't get to them and they will dry out. So that is what you can do in the fruit garden. In the flower garden, the jobs that need doing this month: if you've got clematis, prune your summer clematis this month and tidy that up. Fuchsias, these can be pruned back to 2 buds on each shoot this month, ready for this year's growth. Heathers, you can chop off any woody bits on the heathers, tidy them up and get them ready for growing again. Pansies, what you need to do with them is you need to keep deheading them so that it will encourage new flowers to grow on that plant. So that has been all your jobs for this month in February. I hope you found that useful. Thank you for listening to today's podcast. I hope that you have enjoyed it. Make sure you do click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts, which get launched on a daily basis at the moment. And feel free to follow us on our social medias: Facebook, Instagram and YouTube, Gardening with Ben. Obviously on YouTube you get to see all the videos as well, which we launch regularly. And if you'd like to support Gardening with Ben, check out the link below in the description from our shop, where you can purchase fantastic gardening hoodies and t-shirts. You can also buy a Gardening with Ben mug to be drinking your own brew out of while listening to this podcast. And we've launched recently a fantastic range of greeting cards which can be used for any occasion, and also for letters to send to family and friends. So thanks for listening, and as always, remember, keep gardening.